Diarrhea! It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
Bailey down the right field line, deep and gone! There goes the perfect game. There goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. All on one swing is 4-1.
Well, at least you didn't get perfectoed. At least you didn't get no-hit. Giants coming home after a 1-5 road trip. They win the first game of said road trip, and then it was just a disaster. They played with heavy hearts all week long. It's been a tough week, obviously, but you know what? It sucks that we lost the great Willie Mays again at 93 years old, and they're going to honor him tonight when they get back home. But what needs to be said right now? Then they're just not good. 5-3 the final yesterday. Sonny Gray takes a perfecto into the 7th inning. He was incredible. 34 years young, by the way, Sonny Gray. Perpetual baby face. We always got love for Sonny Gray here in the Bay. And Logan Webb goes 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned. He grinded. 4 of those runs were the first 2 innings for the Cardinals. But after that, he kind of settled in. He was locked in, and he righted the ship. But it just seems like this team can never fire on all cylinders. If the starters are going, then the offense isn't. If the offense is going, then the starters aren't. They just cannot play complementary baseball, and that's what's killing them right now. And you can look to the injuries, and that's certainly a part of it. Hell, that's absolutely a part of it. But no one's going to feel sorry for them. Just like in the NFL, where you don't want to hear anything about injuries. Oh, the starting quarterback wasn't playing. I don't care. 49ers lost to P.J. Walker in Cleveland, whatever week that was. They were riding high. I don't think they had lost a game up until that point. Or maybe it was the Vikings that lost first. Whatever. My point is, no one's going to feel sorry for the injuries. Now, hopefully you're getting Snell back, although he got roughed up in his outing yesterday. He says he still needs to be 100%. He's not there yet. He doesn't want to rush himself back because last time he rushed himself back, he got hurt again and got put back on the IL. So he gets touched up in Sacramento. We'll see what's going on with Robbie Ray. Hopefully he's coming back soon. Alex Cobb, we'll see. It's not a good time right now to be a San Francisco Giants fan. They're 6 games under 500, which ties their season low. Remember last time they were 6 games under 500? They went on a, 10-2 little stretch there. Let's see if they can pick that back up. And it starts tonight, again, at home against the Chicago Cubs. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Joe Spadoni. You got me for the next hour here on the pregame show. Hope you all had a lovely, lovely weekend. The Giants withstanding. Hope you all enjoyed your Friday without any Giants baseball. It probably would have been nice at least. Just get a little head clear there. It was a beautiful weekend, whether it was in the Bay, whether I was down in Monterey, the Monterey Peninsula, wherever you were, whether it's the Pleasanton, going to the Alameda County Fair, all of that. Hope you all had a very lovely weekend. 4th of July season is upon us. Fireworks season in the Bay, especially where I'm at. And I'm sure where Sam Lubman's at too. Just sounds like just mortars going off left and right. And by the way, people, because we know it's the Bay, Oakland, San Francisco, whatever, where you're at, depending on your neighborhood, you got illegal fireworks in the area. I'm not telling you to snitch or anything like that. I'm telling the owners, the dog owners too, that live in those neighborhoods that hear all those fireworks going on. You can get mad at the fireworks all you want, but be a good owner and bring your pet inside. That stuff is damaging to their psyche and to their ears, for that matter. And I don't want to hear the barking. So I find the dogs barking more annoying than actual fireworks, and I feel bad for the doggies. So before I get PETA out on your ass and Cesar Millan, bring your dogs in. All right? That's my little PSA. That's my one thing today. Bring your dogs in during fireworks season. All right? And if they need those little anxiety blankets, those weighted ones, get that for them too. All right? It's man's best friend, for God's sakes. Bob Melvin on the San Francisco Giants and this road trip and Sonny Gray's performance, who again, went 7 innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 earned run, had 8 strikeouts. Sonny was feeling it. He was shining bright.
I mean, he's gotten better, too. He's got more pitches. He's got a cutter that goes the other way. Typically, it was a sinker in the past. He's got a short slider, a hard slider, a curveball, changeup. He had it all working today.
Seems like when Logan struggles, it's usually the first inning. Is that you saw him just maybe trying to find his rhythm today? Or?
I think that's probably consistent with most good pitchers. Best chance is probably in the first inning or two, and before they get into a rhythm. I think maybe a little bit there.
We asked before the game about the base running that Logan today struggled with that too.
Yeah, that was just a timing thing. You know, they've obviously are paying attention to that, and we gave up a few stolen bases today based on guys just taking off before we even delivered the ball to plate.
1-5 road trip, and obviously difficult in a lot of ways. How do you just?
It's not good. Week? Not good. I mean, we win the game, and then first game, and then we don't win any after that. It's a bad road trip. I know we had a lot going on, but so did these guys. So look, we fought, and had a chance at the end where it didn't look good early in the game. Obviously, we continue to do that against late inning relievers. It's putting pressure early in the game that we're having some trouble with. We did that yesterday, but loss is a loss.
A loss is a loss, and Bob Melvin's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to make you feel, good about, it was a tough week. No. And he said it right there. Cardinals had a tough week too. They had to travel. And hell, the Cardinals, who we all wrote off for dead early on this season, they're a game out. Hell, they're in the wild card right now. Are they not? They're the number 2 seed or number 3, whatever it is. The Mets, they're on fire. They took a series against the Chicago Cubs overnight. Diaz, by the way, probably going to get a 10-game suspension. Right? After they found the sticky substance on the ball, or on his hands, I should say. Oh, God. Thought we were done with the sticky stuff, guys. Thought we were done with it. Spider tack, all that. Now, Mets fans will tell you it's all conspiracy and that they have it out for them. I don't know. They zoomed in on the broadcast on the Sunday Night Baseball last night. By the way, John Shambi, he's so good. You forget how good that guy is because he does a lot of television now for the Chicago Cubs. He's their full-time TV guy. I think it was the Marquee Sports Network, whatever they have over in Chicago. He's so good. I always loved him when he was on Sunday Night Baseball, if he was a fill-in, if it was Wednesday Night Baseball back in the day, if it was just, Baseball Tonight. So good, just a consummate professional. And he still does ESPN radio during their playoffs. But man, just a treat to listen to him last night, and now his home turf, if you will, out in Chicago. So Mets, I say all that to say they're hot, and they're only a game out. And we just look at the wild card standings right now. And again, this is a theme we always have to play. And we look at it once a week, a couple times a week. It's just, the fact of the matter is, the Giants are the 3rd worst team in the National League right now. You can try to argue all you want, but they're the 3rd worst team in the National League, just going by the record. And if we're going Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are, then they are the 3rd worst team. If you want to go in the Major League Baseball, let's do that. They would be the Blue Jays 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th worst team in all of baseball. So congratulations, you're just a little bit better than the Rockies, Marlins, White Sox, A's, Angels, and Blue Jays. By the way, the Angels team kind of came in and kicked your ass recently too. So it's nut up or shut up time. And if you want to say it's all, you're going to give passes because of, the injuries, I don't buy that. You have to have something in place, especially if you have hundreds of millions of dollars invested in the payroll like the San Francisco Giants do. You have to have a contingency plan. So I don't want to hear that, oh man, it wasn't our year, health-wise, it just wasn't happening. No. Cardinals, they're not healthy. I didn't see Olin Arenado this weekend, did you? They've been battling all season long. Yankees, they're not healthy. The Cleveland Guardians, they're not healthy. Seattle Mariners, they're not. No one is healthy on June 24th, 2024. By the way, it's my sister's birthday. Shout out, Hannah. I got to text her happy birthday. 25. It's a big one. It's like the last big one of your 20s until you turn 30, to be honest. It's all a blur. 20s go by so fast. Enjoy them if you're any 20-year-olds out there that's listening to me right now. And if you're listening via the Odyssey app. Shout out you. It is free to download. Download that, favorite 95.7 The Game, and thousands of other stations. Again, free. Download the Odyssey app. It is awesome. Take us coast to coast, wherever you need to go. Take us from Florida and maybe Edmonton. Sure, maybe up in Canada it works on. Maybe. Let me know if it does, if I have any Canadian listeners. But if you're up in Canada and you're watching that Stanley Cup tonight, Game 7, by the way, and yeah, we don't talk hockey much here on the pregame show, but you know what? Anytime a major championship final goes to Game 7 and a team was leading 3-0, yeah, that's worth mentioning. This would be, I mean, fair to say the greatest comeback and greatest choke job in sports history. I mean, it's up there. 888-957-9570. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, so maybe we'll push our brakes till tomorrow, maybe, and we can get into that. But just off the top of my head, I would love to hear some that you have. I mean, locally, we could go, and I don't want to do this because I just, hate opening old wounds, but Cleveland, this is for you. Warriors blowing 3-1 lead. Cleveland Guardians actually blew a 3-1 lead as well to the Chicago Cubs. It's kind of a choke job, but it's Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland. But blowing a 3-0 lead would be just chef's kiss to an incredible sports playoffs. But the NBA playoffs, I think, were such a dud that hockey was like, you know what, guys? We'll pick you up. We know the Florida Panthers aren't a major brand. Edmonton Oilers, okay, they're a brand. But Canada hasn't won anything in, 30 plus years? We'll give you a good series. And they did just that. We thought we were going to have two. We were talking here on the show on the Morning Rose with Bonte and Shasky. We're back. Shasky's back in the studio today at 6 o'clock. But we were talking about the first time maybe since, 95, 96, that we might have two sweeps at both the Stanley Cup playoffs finals and the NBA finals. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Gentleman's sweep in the NBA was still a snoozer. No one thought the Mavericks had any chance of coming back. And then now in Stanley Cup, Florida was up 3-0. It's coming back now. We'll see. Could Edmonton shock the world? They've got the best player in all of hockey, Connor McDavid. So I'm leaning Edmonton Oilers. There you go. Maybe that one fan in the stands is going to be extra excited. Maybe she's going to be down in Florida. Who knows? We'll see. And by the way, Edmonton, Florida, wherever you guys are streaming from, you could watch us via Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Just search 95.7 The Game on any of those platforms. Like and subscribe right there. I brought up the NBA playoffs. A lot happening in the NBA. We got draft week this week. We got the California Classic coming next weekend. Summer League is approaching. We got Olympics approaching. We got Olympic qualifying happening. Like, there is so much happening right now. And it's the offseason in basketball. JJ Redick's now the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. How's that going to work? Spoiler alert, probably not going to end well. We've got trades happening. Now, not official, but they're expected to happen. Josh Giddey going to Chicago. Alex Caruso, the Caruso, heading to Oklahoma City, where he started his G League career with the Oklahoma City. I want to say they're the Blue. So, stuff happening there. Warriors expected to bring back Kevon Looney, as I saw over the weekend. Saw that via Anthony Slater of The Athletic. So, things are percolating, as Stephen A. Smith would say. Another thing that's percolating is Klay Thompson. Is his time coming to an end in Golden State? And we'll get back to the Giants a little bit at 888-957-9570. I want your thoughts on the 1-5 road trip as they look to honor Willie Mays for the first time at home tonight at Oracle Park. If you're going to the game, hit me up, 888-957-9570. But for the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson, is it coming to an end? It's kind of crazy that it's been this, matter of fact that, the two sides just aren't communicating and they don't seem to be close. It's the non-communicative part for me, which has me a little concerned. If you are one of those fans that want to bring Klay Thompson back, if you don't want him back, then you're probably doing cartwheels right now, because if I was a betting man right now, I'd say Klay Thompson is not returning in a Golden State Warriors uniform. Which is kind of crazy, because that's all we've known for the last decade plus. Is Klay Thompson in a Golden State Warriors uniform, winning 4 titles, having 2 horrific injuries, coming back from them to win another championship, being a splash bro, being one of the greatest shooters in the history of the sport, being a statue guy for the Golden State Warriors. Yes, that Klay Thompson might be moving on. And Anthony Slater, in his latest piece, so we've got talks between Klay Thompson and the Warriors being essentially frozen per sources. There has been no offer made. It's more probable than ever he may leave the only franchise he's known, regardless of his market. And this was a possibility. We talked about this all after the season ended. Hell, during the season. There's a good chance that Klay Thompson wants to leave, and that it's not all about the Warriors and staying with them. Now you could say, well, good luck elsewhere, Klay. This is the only place where you're going to fit. You're older. You've had 2 injuries. Fans are fickle. They'll turn on you in a heartbeat. Now, there's different types of fan, and I'm not, like certain hosts of the station telling you how to fan. I don't do that. So you're well within your rights to be, you know what? See you, Klay Thompson. Thanks for the memories, but we're moving on. Or you can be sentimental. It's fine. He's done a lot for this franchise. And I do think after the 2 injuries, the Achilles and the ACL, that was a low point in his life. And he came back a changed man from that. Personality-wise, playing-wise. And I think fans have had a hard time adjusting to him, adjusting to those major injuries. And they were traumatic. Like, anytime an athlete has an Achilles injury, that is a traumatic injury. Soft tissue, you don't know if you're going to come back the same player. I think we've gone accustomed to just seeing guys come back and just don't skip a beat. And it's just like, oh yeah, Adrian Peterson did it. Yeah, so, anyone can do it. Yeah, well, that's Adrian Peterson. One of the greatest running backs, maybe the greatest running back of my lifetime. Him, LaDainian Tomlinson. Hell, Christian McCaffrey might be up there after the end of his career, but that's one of one. Klay Thompson was over 30 years old, and he had 2 of those injuries consecutively after rehabbing to get back from one and then having the other. It's the ACL in the finals, then he gets the Achilles. Just, that does change a person. I don't care. Yeah, we all like the happy-go-lucky Klay, but you know what? Klay took a lot of crap. He took a lot of crap. I remember him being on with Charles Barkley he was rehabbing. I want to say it was during the 2021 NBA playoffs when Milwaukee ended up winning it all. It might have been during the Western Conference Finals. They have him on the panel, and Chuck is just roasting the Warriors. Like, you guys are done. You guys aren't winning anything else. He's like, I hope you end up feeling okay, Klay, but you guys are done. And then Charles, when Klay's rehabbing, he's coming back, and Charles, and he's struggling, Klay, and he's on a minutes restriction, and Charles being like, he's never going to be the same player he once was. And Klay, talking through the media, saying that bothered him. You know what? That hurt that Chuck said that. And then Chuck heard that. He says, I'm no hard feelings. I'm just calling it like I see it. I love you, Klay, but Father Time's undefeated. When you have major injuries, this is what happens. And it's hard for players, or anyone for that matter, who lose a step, who get older, who've gone through something traumatic, to move past that and try to be the player or person they once were. But we are nothing more than the sum of our successes and sums of our failures and our hardships in our life. And for better or worse, Klay Thompson came back to change person, and I think it rubbed some Golden State Warriors fans wrong. I'm not telling you to feel one way or the other in regards to that. I choose to think, you know what? The guy deserves a little bit of credit for being such a fan favorite for so long. So yeah, I think he's allowed to show a little bit of frustration and emotion when he's gone through a lot of stuff. Here's Slater and TK, by the way, on their podcast last week, via The Athletic talking about the Warriors planning for Brandon Pajemski to start next season potentially. And if Klay were to come back, Klay not starting.
Want this aggregated, but I don't think that's the feeling to that extent with Klay. Like, they want him. They will pay a certain amount, but there is a certain amount. They're not just going to go, Jesus, okay, here's another 10 million, or here's another year. I don't feel that. Maybe it gets to that extent with them, but
that's why I use the term gettable, because I just think there's like a rival could come in and take him.
Yep. And at some point, I think the Warriors will think, it's just not worth it. At some point, at some number, we don't know what that number is. But I don't think they're planning for him to start. I don't think they are. I think they're planning for Pajemski to start. And then
I think Moody's in the conversation too. And I also don't necessarily think
at the finals.
I don't think it's like game one. There'll be a camp. There'll be a lot of looking at lineups. We'll see how the roster, we have no idea how the rest of the roster is going to look, by July 8th. But I do think the conversation is your role is lessening as this, let's say it's a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal as it goes on.
They've already said it. Like, as Steve already
last
said,
year was
coming off the bench. Yeah.
But
that would be the idea.
We've talked about this, but there needs to, I think part of the conversation is there needs to be a contentness with that idea
from Klay's side.
All I know is if I'm Klay Thompson and I have won 4 titles here and I accepted a bench role last season, which was fine for the greater good of the season, I embraced it when he needed me to. Sure, it was tough early on, but you know what? We have many sound bites where we're saying, you know what? I'm fine. I'm happy. We've moved on. He embraced it at one point. But, and it's a big but, shout out Kim Kardashian, when you see a second-year player in a Brandon Pajemski, that, let's be honest, he's a try-hard guy. He's active. Led the, rookies, or hell, might have led the Western Conference in charges. Man, all of the NBA, I need to look that up. He was a gritty player. Solid. He is a fringe starter / sixth man, and that is his upside. And if I'm Klay Thompson and I see Brandon Pajemski or Moses Moody starting in my place next year, yeah, I start to wonder, do I want to be here going forward? Now, listen, you can make the arguments that Pajemski's just a better player overall, all you want. You can cite the analytics, all that sort of stuff. I know if I am a former star like Klay Thompson, and if I am a made man in the league, and if I'm going to the Hall of Fame, and I know I still have that shot, something about shooting the basketball, you never forget it. Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those guys are one of one when it comes to shooting. They don't forget how to shoot. So he will be coveted around the NBA, whether it's Orlando, whether it's Philadelphia, whoever the hell it is, young and up-and-coming team or contender. He will be sought after. And he might want to stick it to the Golden State Warriors. He might want, which is kind of crazy to say in all this. I can't believe I'm saying that Klay Thompson might want to stick it to Golden State. And maybe that is a little harsh. But when I see comments and when I see reports from what I saw from Anthony Slater, who again is our 95.7 The Game Insider, we love having Anthony on. Again, talks between Klay Thompson and the Warriors are essentially frozen. There has been no offer made. It's more probable than ever he may leave the only franchise he's known, regardless of his market. Whether it's on Klay Thompson or the Golden State Warriors side, I did not envision it ending like this for Klay Thompson and Golden State. If you were to tell me, injuries and all, after it happened, that Draymond Green would outlast Klay Thompson and Golden State, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. Now, the level of play when he's on the court for Draymond is better than Klay Thompson. Defensively, he just is better. And he's given you more defensively than Klay is offensively. Now, you can say it's about getting buckets and all that. For this team, Draymond Green is more valuable than Klay Thompson right now. And that's just the reality. 888-957-9570. Is this the end of Klay Thompson and Golden State? I want to hear from you. Giants, they return home after a 1-5 road trip after a very tough road trip. Obviously losing the great Willie Mays, who will be celebrated tonight for the San Francisco Giants, who are taking on the Chicago Cubs. Cubbies, they just lost 2 of 3 as well after taking that series against the Giants. So a little up and down homestand for them as they start their road trip, honoring Willie Mays tonight at Oracle Park. If you're going to the game, 888-957-9570. I want to hit you up there. Hit me up on Twitter at Spadoni_Joe. We are streaming there at 95.7 The Game. All of that and more on the other side on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Toyota's 4th of July sales event is on. Get in today for deals on the hottest lineup around. Don't miss a low lease on the fully redesigned 2024 Tacoma or low 1.99% APR on 2024 Tundra and Tundra Hybrid. Get your ride on with Toyota's 4th of July sales event today.
a member today.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Real Slim Shady, please stand up. Will the real San Francisco Giants please stand up? Or they've been standing up and falling down on their faces all season long. That's kind of what it's been. Joe Spadoni in here, 95.7 The Game. Got me for the next 30 minutes, 2 more segments before handing it off to Vontae Hill and Joe Shasky. Shasky's fired up, man. I always fired up because right when I come out, he gives me show topic ideas. He's like, let me run this by you. I'm excited. Can't wait for the morning roast. They got Richie Rich coming on at 9:20. I'm sure he'll share his thoughts on this game yesterday when this was the basically sole highlight. They kind of made a fake rally towards the end there, the San Francisco Giants. Nothing worse in baseball than a fake rally, by the way. I hate it. Get my hopes up. And it's not a timed sport, too, so I was just like, you got my attention, and now it's gone. But this was the, highlight of yesterday, and outside of one win in this entire road trip.
Bailey down the right field line, deep and gone! There goes the perfect game. Yay! There goes the no-hitter. There goes the shutout. All on one swing. It's 4-1.
Yay! The Giants didn't get perfectoed. Yay! Awesome! What a joke. Again, they're not playing complimentary baseball. Offensively, defensively, the base paths, whatever you want to say. They're just not playing well. Blame the injuries all you want. No one's going to feel sorry for you. The Giants right now are the third worst team in the National League. They're 36-42. They have the Cincinnati Reds ahead of them. They have the Chicago Cubs ahead of them. They have the Pittsburgh Pirates ahead of them. They have the New York Grimace Mets in front of them. They have the Arizona Diamondbacks in front of them. The Washington Nationals. And then you get to the top 3 teams in the wild card: Padres, Cardinals, Braves. By the way, Braves are 8-2 in their last 10. I wouldn't count them just out yet in that National League East race. I know the Phillies, they're up there. They're balling. Phillies are good. Don't let the Braves hover. All I'm saying. 888-957-9570. We were talking about Klay Thompson. We've been talking about the Warriors. It just doesn't seem to be a great time in Bay Area sports. Niners, where are you at? Come save us. Well, we're still, even when I talk about the Niners, who were just in the Super Bowl last year, and yes, it did end in heartbreak, but it was still a tremendous season. They're a good team to talk about. You can't talk about the Niners without talking about Brandon Ayuk and what's going on there. No talks have gotten close. Niners have their number. Brandon Ayuk has his. And they are, digging their holes for some trench warfare, if you will. I don't mean to make light of war, but in a way, we always like to kind of make war references when it comes to, the offensive and defensive line, the trenches. So it's kind of what it is right now for the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk's camp. And who's going to blink first? Who's going to toss that first grenade? Well, we'll see. We shall see. From the Xfinity mobile text line, 888-957-9570. Call or text that number. Talking Klay Thompson. Is this the last we've seen of Klay Thompson in a Golden State Warriors uniform? Him going 0 in a must-win in a do-or-die game against the Sacramento Kings. Is that going to be the lasting image for some Warriors fans here? Well, 408 seems to think Thompson had a legendary run, but the Warriors have to look at every option, especially if it means bringing in a more complete player at this point, like a Paul George, for example. Now, I saw that rumor floating around, and let me find it here as I pull up Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. And you can follow me at Spadoni_Joe, by the way. But I did see this rumor over the weekend. Paul George, Warriors, possibility. Brett Siege, or is it Sieg? Apologies, Brett. But he covers the NBA and is a national NBA insider for Clutch Points. All right. So take that for what it's worth. Clutch Points, obviously, they've been a major aggregate, Twitter follow, reposting a lot of what other people have reported at times. But hey, Brett works for them. Quote, keep a very close eye on the Warriors regarding Paul George if Klay Thompson is to leave. Okay, just keep an eye on him. I mean, salary-wise, how does that work? I mean, he's going to command a max slot, you would think, because that is what he wants. If he's not going to get that with the Clippers, and we all assume he's going to leave the Clippers, do they do a sign and trade? Does Klay Thompson help facilitate that? Do they send Klay to the Clippers? Listen, I love Fantasyland sports talk. It's great. The finances just doesn't add up to snuff. If I have a salary capologist that can explain it to me like I'm 5, like Michael Scott getting explained what a surplus is with a lemonade stand, I'm all ears. Now, does that make you a contender in the West? It certainly makes you better, and it's the second best player alongside, probably the best player that Steph has played with, outside of Wiggins for a couple months, obviously, excluding that, since Kevin Durant. Paul George is an exceptional talent. He is very good. He has had a lot of shortcomings in his career. He's come off a lot of disappointing playoff runs in his career. I believe this Clippers run has been kind of swept under the rug. People don't call it for what it is. It's kind of low-key been a disaster. This Kawhi, Ty Lue, Doc Rivers was there for a little bit, but Kawhi, Paul George, Pat Bev was like, that. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't. And for the time to move on now, if it is certainly that time for Paul George, I think it would be the right move for him. But would it be an improvement going to the Warriors over the Clippers? Stephen Curry is certainly more healthy than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi, when he is healthy, is still a tremendous talent, but he's not anymore. And he's not ever going to be 100% anymore. Steph also isn't as good as he once was, but he's still better than the rest, and that's all that matters. At least top 10 in my mind. Maybe top 5 still. Paul George, your thoughts, Warriors fans, if Warriors decide move on from Klay Thompson and shifting their eyes towards PG 13, 888-957-9570, would you be interested? Man, why not? Right? Now I'm thinking about it. Like, you have to be bold if you're the Golden State Warriors. You cannot be complacent. If you want to maximize, if you think you have a championship window, however small it might be, with Stephen Curry, you have to maximize everything. Which is why I think the same thing for the Lakers and LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The JJ Redick, at least in it's you can use this word, and I'll choose to use it. You might laugh. It's an inspiring hire. Now, it might blow up like Steve Nash level proportions on them. Although I think we forget that Steve Nash did take that team to the brink of the Eastern Conference Finals, and he was a Kevin Durant foot size away from maybe taking that team to the NBA Finals and winning it all. So I know it ended horribly, and there was a lot of egos there. By the way, first-time head coach. I do think that Steve Nash probably is going to have it harder than JJ Redick did. I know Brooklyn is not the brand of Los Angeles, but I just think back to James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. Man, I do not wish that on Phil Jackson, let alone Steve Nash. And I do think Phil probably could have coached that team pretty well because he's just good with personalities. But man, JJ Redick now is going to have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and we'll see what other moves they make. Expect the Lakers to be moving, wheeling and dealing come free agency. But I just look at that hire and then, you know what? I'm not going to go Kenny Atkinson. He might be a good coach for, the long haul, but I need something inspiring right now. I need to try to maximize LeBron James, who's still an incredible talent, who is still one of the, I don't know, you want to call him top 10 player. I still think he is. I mean, just judging off how he played last year, should have been second team All NBA, I think, personally. But Anthony Davis, still tremendous talent when he's out on the court, and he was actually healthy for the most part, shocking, last year. You got to do something inspiring. And for the Golden State Warriors, I think Paul George would be that. Do you? 888-957-9570. We're going to react to that, your thoughts, plus more on the Giants and their struggles, 1-5, heading back home. And some craziness over the weekend in sports. I had a very good time watching the Oakland Roots versus Monterey Bay Union, or Monterey Bay FC. I think they're the Union FC, whatever they want to call them. But down in Cal State, Monterey Bay, that was fun. Their new little stadium down there. So had a great time there. Plus, I watched some PGA over the weekend. Travelers, always interesting stuff happening there. Scotty Scheffler's just a machine. He is. They had protesters going out saying free Scotty on the last hole. Hole ended up going to a playoff. Scheffler ended up edging out Tony Kim. Tremendous theater. Always fun. Little sudden death action. We got Copa America. We got Euros going on. Team USA. Let's go, baby. Let's go. 2-0 win over Bolivia in their group stage. They're going to take on Panama next before facing off the favorite of the group, Uruguay, who took care of business yesterday against that said Panama. All right. More of your calls, more of your texts on the other side as we roll on here on a Monday. Good morning to all you lovely people on 95.7 The Game.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And for just $15 a month, add the new Stream Saver. That includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix for just $35 a month. Switch at Xfinity.com today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees.
and the Ad Council.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
Lucky us. What are we doing? Yeah, that's pretty lame.
Lucky us. What are we doing? It's pretty lame. Just some of the things these fans are saying about the show that's sweeping the nation. The Pregame Show, Joe Spadoni. Good morning, everybody. Just getting a nice weekend. If you're on the East Coast, hope you're enjoying a nice breakfast, a little bagel action maybe, a little cream cheese. God, go for a good deli sandwich right now. The only thing about getting up this early too is my cravings are just so abnormal when it comes to like being at 10 in the morning. So when you get up like at 3:30 every day, you've already been up for 6.5 hours by the time 10 o'clock rolls around. It's like, man, I can go for like a tuna sandwich. And people look at you like, tuna? What's wrong with you? It's like, brother, this is like lunch for me right now. So yeah, I'm going to have a tuna melt, all right, on rye, and pickles on the side. I'm going to be happy about it, all right? Don't judge me. I don't judge anyone here on the Pregame Show. We don't do that, so call in at 888-957-9570. The takes, you know what? We'll have thoughts on them, but that's fine. It's a conversation. I'm not going to crush you. I might disagree. That's okay. We'll agree to disagree. How about that? I think we've forgotten how to do that. Or we'll say we agree to disagree, but still be angry at the person's opinion. That's just usually how it works. By the way, and this, I was going to forget about this, and thankfully I have 12 more minutes, so I'm not going to. The most ridiculous thing I saw over the weekend, it kind of pissed me off, I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to pretend like I saw this guy this particular season, which I'm talking about, but the review of Michael Jordan's DPOY season, what are we doing? I'm seeing all this right now. Chicago Bulls legend Scottie Pippen exposes Michael Jordan's 1997-98 DPOY. What? What? And this is an article I'm seeing from Sports Illustrated. And this is via, who's this by? Anthony Pasciolo. Pasciolo. Sorry. He's a Paisan. I should probably know how to pronounce his last name. Italian-American, all right? Never took Italian. Took Spanish because I grew up in California. Sue me. Chicago Bulls legends Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan have been far from friends since retiring. In 2021, Pippen even took a jab at Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year award in 1988. All right. But now we have Tom Habistro from Yahoo Sports doing a deep dive on Michael Jordan's DPOY season. And this is the quote that came out from Tom Habistro. Breaking out his numbers into game location, we find that Jordan averaged a mind-boggling 4 steals and 2.1 blocks at home. But on the road, those numbers shrunk to a mere mortal rate of 2.1 steals and 1.2 blocks. Habistro wrote, put simply, Jordan's steals and blocks nearly doubled at home compared to the road. To account for possible uneven playing time effects, we can look at per 36-minute numbers for a truer portrayal of the phenomenon. Jordan's combined block and steals numbers were a whopping 82% higher at home than on the road. Okay. Is this what we're doing? Is this what we're doing now? We're going to go back to a season to dissect a DPOY that was won almost 40 years ago. And why are we doing this? Are we doing this to discredit MJ? To say he didn't deserve it? I just want to know the agenda of why we're going back and looking at this thing. Those comments from Scottie Pippen were from 2021. That was 3 years ago when he, took a little bit of jabs at Michael, which is, become more commonplace for some of the teammates around him. And after watching the doc, I kind of get it. He was a hard teammate, but he expected a lot out of you. There's also some family matters stuff when it comes to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, obviously his son, dating Scottie's ex-wife. Dating. You can call it other things if you want. But there's a lot there. But why is Tom Habistro? Why are the Nick Wrights? Well, I know the Nick Wrights of the world, who's number one LeBron fan. But why are we going at Michael Jordan's season? 888-957-9570. Can someone help me out with that? The guy is the greatest player in the history of the sport. All the beat writers, you can look up the excerpts, and I looked up at some of them who voted for him for DPOI. All of them didn't go by stats. They just went by the eye test, which I think has been kind of lost in all this, is just watching it with our eyes. And all of them are just having this microscope of Michael Jordan's season. And this is what we do. And I'm so happy now that we didn't have social media and all this crap back then, because it's here to stay. And it's really just, and the talk show debates and Skip versus Stephen A and all that, it really has made the discourse, specifically with the game of basketball, toxic. Like, we don't do this with baseball. We don't do this. Hell, NFL gets a little tough, but not to the level of basketball. It has gotten so player-centric and compare and contrast and everything that we can't even enjoy players anymore. In order to raise up someone today, we have to go back almost 40 years ago to tear down and dissect a DPOI season that we don't feel was up to snuff. I actually don't think it was that good. His stats were inflated. What are we doing? Again, I just want to know why we're going back there. That's it. If someone can help me out, 888-957-9570. Why on June 24th, again, happy birthday, Hannah Spadoni, 2024, why are we talking about Michael Jordan's 1987 DPOI? Someone help me out with that. I would love to know. 888-957-9570. Slow sports cycle. Is that why 4 and 5? Is that why people are doing it? It must be. But even then, it's not slow sports cycle. Because again, we have so much actual NBA storylines that are happening right now that we could be talking about. The JJ Redick thing, for example, that could blow up in the Lakers' face. That's still relevant news. The amount of memes coming out over the weekend, hell, that's more relevant. The Hawk Tua girl is more relevant than Michael Jordan's DPOI season right now. What are we doing? And yeah, I might have to get that as the drop, the Hawk Tua thing. Although it's borderline, might get in trouble with the boss. If he's listening, Nahigian, let me know. Well, I might grab that drop. We'll play it by ear. But I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, and this is also a sad indictment on baseball, which I do think is actually having a pretty crazy season. And it's been having a pretty good stretch here. As much as I dislike what Rob Manfred has done to this, great Bay Area baseball landscape, and obviously John Fisher at the helm of that as well. But Manfred is also to blame. As much as I don't like what that's happened, I do think the product on the field has been pretty exciting. But we'd rather talk about Michael Jordan and did he deserve the DPOI than talk any baseball. That's it. We'd rather talk about Aaron Rodgers and just skipping mandatory minicamp and just skipping that and just, it's fine. Yeah, we'd rather just talk about that. And we're talking about Grimace more than the actual Mets. Where the Mets aren't good. It's Grimace throughout a first pitch. That purple, I always thought it was like a gross chicken nugget that was left underneath like a seat cushion for a while and it turned purple and they just turned that into the mascot and that was Grimace. I come to find out if you leave that chicken nugget under your cushion, it doesn't turn into anything because there's just, first of all, it's not even real meat. Are they still using that pink slime or whatever that was for the chicken nuggets? But it just turns into nothing. It just gets stale because there's just so many preservatives and a bunch of other crap that's in there that it just hardens and it turns into like a fossil. So it can even turn purple. So Grimace, I don't even know what you are, but apparently you're the reason why the Mets are good again. I don't know. Whatever. Hey, good for them though. Again, Giants, third worst team in the National League. As I put a bow on today's conversation, we're talking Giants ugliness. We're talking Klay Thompson moving on, Paul George coming in potentially to Golden State. And we're talking Michael Jordan, I guess, in his DPOY season. Because apparently, if you look at the numbers, his stats at home are inflated. Wasn't that the case with everything? Are your stats always going to be a little skewed a little bit more? Slightly, because there's always some home cooking. Oh, but not to that degree. Well, Michael Jordan was the guy. All right? I'm sure LeBron James in his great career has also benefited from some home cooking. All right? Are they giving him extra assists when there was a couple extra dribbles and maybe it shouldn't have been an extra assist? Yes. Is he any less of a player? No. Like, what are we... Again, I have to go back to these Klay Thompson. I've never sympathized more with these Klay Thompson sound bites than this one right here.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to miss Klay. If he is going, if this is the last time we've seen Klay Thompson in Golden State Warriors uniform, I'm going to miss the sound bites and the memes and all of it. I mean, it might be one of my favorite NBA memes, as we're talking NBA memes here on the pregame show. Him just sitting on the bench fouling out with like 3 points and like me on any group project in high school. It's peak. That's how I'll choose to remember Klay Thompson in a Golden State Warriors uniform. You might remember Game 6 Klay. You might remember the great postseason playoff performances, 30 points in a quarter, stuff like that. You might remember those. I'll choose to remember the memes. From the Xfinity Mobile text line. You can't cook blocks and steals. Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Hey, this person lost the dribble real quick. Might have been their own fault. Oh, let me just take that. Oh, you got a little slight piece of it. Oh, maybe it was a deflection, but we're going to call it a block instead of deflection. Like, you can cook anything you want when it comes to stats. You absolutely can. And why are we going at Michael Jordan? Because of people's insecurities in today's game? Like, to boost narratives? I don't get it. He's the GOAT. Get over it. Stop trying to anoint everyone else. It's not happening. No one's impacting the game today like Michael Jordan did back then. It's okay to admit that. And it's okay to say that LeBron James did things that Michael Jordan never did. Steph Curry did things that Michael Jordan never did. It's okay to say that. And Michael still is better than both of them. And I think that's tough to swallow for a lot of people. I can't wait until Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky get in on this because I think they'll discuss it. Also, they're going to discuss Klay Thompson, the Giants' ugliness with Richie Aurelia at 9:20, all of that, and then some on the Morning Roast. Have a good morning, everybody.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by...